It happened! Daredevil got back on TV, he's back in the MCU, and he's back in the MCU in a real way and not whatever way he was back in She-Hulk. And to celebrate, Marvel has continued on its tradition of reprinting really great comics that's been going on for the past couple of years. It's been wonderful for my collection. And they gave us Daredevil #1. I saw this in the catalog, I'm like, you know what, I gotta have this, it looks great. And so I ordered it, and now it's here, and I'm excited to dive into it. Let's find out what's going on in the story, let's find out why it's going on the way it's going on, and just see how this laid the groundwork for where we are today. Let's hop into it. This poor book really didn't have a great shot at life to begin with. And you look at the other Marvel stuff that was being released at this time, and you have the Fantastic Four, which was clearly Stan's favorite. The Hulk, which was created out of Stan Lee's love for classic monster movies, as well as the popularity of The Thing. You had Spider-Man, which was an experiment that he just really wanted to try, and it ended up working. But then you have this. This did not have a whole lot of thought or backstory behind it. Now, Stan Lee isn't the most consistent storyteller of his own history, but I took some statements from him as well as like some other research just trying to figure out everything, and here's the story I pieced together. Stan Lee was writing all of these books, and he was writing books all across the board, and he had a bunch of artists that were working their tails off to try and get everything done on time. And then he noticed that Bill Everett, he didn't seem to have much to do. Now, Bill Everett is an old comic book legend. Prior to this, his biggest accomplishment was creating Namor, the Submariner. The publisher called Stan into his office and said, "Hey, we need another superhero type book. You seem to be doing a bunch of those. You seem to be pretty good at doing a bunch of those. So do another one." And so Stan went to Bill and said, "Hey, I need you to come up with another superhero and do it now." And he said, "Okay," and he made Daredevil. But no matter how you slice it, that's not an exciting story. That's just a day at the office. But you know what? You would be shocked and amazed at what came out of that one day at the office. Let's go ahead and read into this. They just reused the same... Oof. That usually doesn't bode well. Our story starts at Fogwell's gym, where a bunch of thugs are just playing cards, gambling, smoking, being awful people. "Come on, Porky, we haven't got all day. The Fixer may be here soon." "Keep your shirt on, Sam. I don't rush for anyone." Out of the corner of the room, out of the corner of their eye, stands this man, dressed in yellow and red, and it's a terrible costume. They just did not hit. "But look at his build. Hang around, fella. Maybe the Fixer can use you." "I intend to do just that. When I'm through with the Fixer, he'll never be able to use anyone ever again." Then he just starts wiping the floor with these people, just throwing them around like it's nobody's business, and it's awesome. Eventually they get to... Holy cow! No, I don't think you guys understand. This kind of panel layout here, where it's the same continuous image in the back, but it's split by the panel break, that is some advanced stuff. I'm amazed that this is here this far back. Makes me wonder how many other advanced paneling placements are like this, and this, like, this old or older. But like, look at the way that it gives a sense of place and continuity at the same time. This is brilliant stuff. "Okay, mister, we've had it. Now who are you and what do you want?" "Now that playtime's over, I'll hang around until I find the Fixer. As for who I am, you can just call me Daredevil." Top-notch paneling, folks. Top-notch paneling. And this is where we hop into the backstory of everything. We get to see battling Murdock, Daredevil's father, Matt Murdock's dad. He's talking to Matt. "I promised your mother before she died that I wouldn't let you grow up to be an uneducated pug like me. You're going to amount to something, Matt." "But I want to be like you, Dad. I'm proud of you. You're the greatest." "Don't say it, boy. I'm past my prime. I've no future and nothing I can do but become a punching bag for younger men. But I don't want that to happen to you. You're going to study, become a lawyer or a doctor. You'll be somebody. The somebody that I can never be. Now go back to your room, son, and get busy with your books. And study Matt did. Though he was always really self-conscious about the fact that he's always studying. He's always working on becoming smarter. But he's looking around and like the other teenagers his age and the other people in school, they're doing things like sports and they're roughhousing and getting into fights. And he's kind of envious of that. And then it only gets worse with the fact that people would bully him so incessantly. Well, if it ain't old Daredevil himself. Hi, Daredevil. Be sure you don't tire yourself out turning all those heavy pages in your school books. And after just having enough of it, he looks around and he's like, hold on. My dad's a freaking boxer. He has workout equipment just all over the place. I'm just going to use that. I'm going to use that in between my studies and I'm just going to get jacked. That's what I'm going to do. And so that's what he does. Between studying, when his dad's not around, he'll just use the gym equipment and he'll train like a professional boxer based off of what he sees his dad do. Now we get back to our good pal battling Murdoch. And he's feeling quite self-conscious because he hasn't had a true fight in the ring for months. And he's seeing how hard Matt is studying and how hard he's working. And he's like, you know what? I have to be there for him. I have to provide a good life for my son. And so he does the thing that he never thought he would do. He goes to this fight organizer called the Fixer. Well, if it ain't battling Murdoch. 10 years ago, you kicked me out of your dressing room when I offered you a deal. But I knew you'd come around sooner or later. Sure, I'll get you some fights, and you won't have to take a dive either. Just because I'm really a soft-hearted fool. Here, sign this contract. And so battling Murdoch, he's pretty pleased with himself because it seems everything is going to be okay. He doesn't have to take a dive in fights and he can get back into fighting again. Someone will organize fights for him and he's going to get paid. He can provide a better life for his son, Matt. But, fate, as it often does, has very interesting and twisted plans for our good friends the Murdochs. Because it's at that moment that Matt Murdoch is returning from the library and he sees this blind man just walking right into traffic. And Matt is like, hold on, no, this isn't good. Somebody's got to stop him. He's going to get hurt. And as he's watching this, there's a big truck. Hank, slam on the brakes. Someone's crossing in front of us. I can't. Something's wrong. She won't stop. He won't have a chance unless I can reach him in time. And so Matt Murdoch pushes the man out of danger. He saves him. But the truck, it spills some of its radioactive ooze all over the place and creates the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. No, I'm not kidding. That's like part of the lore. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 famously connects to this issue of Daredevil by showing that like the canister of ooze that transformed the Ninja Turtles fell off of a very similar truck in a very similar manner due to a very similar event and did hit the rescuer in the face. So it's not explicitly confirmed anywhere, but as of right now, I find very few fans that won't accept this as canon. So you have battling Murdoch, who seemingly saved his career, and then you have Matt, who it almost looks like everything has just kind of ended for him, and it's really, really sad to see. But this only seemed to make everyone redouble their efforts. You have Matt, who's studying even harder, and then you have battling Murdoch, who he's in fights again, and he's training harder than he's ever trained before. And while battling Murdoch is out training, we have Matt, who he's still training at his home gym with his dad's equipment, and somehow doing better than he ever did before. I don't get it. Ever since my accident, I seem to be doing everything lots better than before, even without my sight. It's as though nature made all my senses far more powerful to compensate for my blindness. At this point, Matt is succeeding. And on top of that, battling Murdoch, he's having the highlights of his career. He's winning match after match after match after match. He's unstoppable. He's having some of the best boxing he's ever done in his whole career, in his whole life. He's invincible. But then, that's when we get the first little taste of heartache here. All of those fights have been fixed. Remember, he's going through all of his management and all of his fights with a guy called the Fixer. He doesn't even have a real name. He's just the Fixer. And he's been telling all of Murdoch's opponents to take a dive so that they can build up Murdoch as this big unconquerable hero. And then when the next, young guy comes along, he can force Murdoch to take a dive in the first round, and then it's over, and Murdoch's back to being a has-been. Of course, Matt doesn't know any of this. And Foggy is so excited to have read in the newspaper, and he reads to Matt, "Hey, check this out. Your dad is facing the number 2 in the country here. He has a chance to become the heavyweight champion in the state. This is going to be huge." And Matt is so proud of his dad. We get to the next night, and we're back in the boxing ring. We have Murdoch, who's about to face Davis in what is going to be the biggest fight of his life and the most important decision he's ever going to get to make. Because he's told, I have to take a dive in the first round, but he can see his son, he can hear his son out in the stands watching him, cheering him on, and he thinks about how Matt worked so hard to overcome everything that happened to him and to get to the point where he's at. And Murdoch just can't take the dive. He's going to fight, and he's going to fight through. And this time, he knows it's for real. But my boy's here tonight to root for his dad. I've always trained him to do his best. I can't disappoint now. Murdoch, you fool, take it easy. What are you doing? If you're trying to double-cross me, you'll live to regret it. You're supposed to dive now, here? Dive! He's winning, Matt. Your dad's pulverizing him. I know. I can follow the fight perfectly by hearing the sound of each blow, each footstep. It's my chance, maybe my last chance, to do something to make my son proud of me. I'm not going to fail him. I'm going to win, do you hear? I'm going to win! And the crowd goes wild. Everyone erupts. Everyone's excited. This is the greatest drama we've ever seen in a boxing ring. But outside of the building, we find the Fixer, and he's talking to his number 1 enforcer, a guy named Slade. Nobody double-crosses the Fixer. You know what to do, Slade. Yeah, boss. I know what to do. No matter what the Fixer does, I don't care. My son is proud of me, and nothing can change that now. This is about the point when I started to realize just how special this book actually is. This is some of the best drama that I've ever seen in a comic book. Dare I say, this is the best drama I've seen in a Marvel comic from this time. This beats out anything the Fantastic Four had to say with their struggling, always fighting family. This is way more interesting to me than the whole of the Avengers and everything that they're going through. This is better than Amazing Fantasy 15. This side character, honestly, Matt's dad, battling Murdoch, we don't have layers like that. We have this guy who he wants to be great, but he also wants his son to not do the same thing that he's doing, even though he's great at it. He doesn't want to take a dive, but he's willing to work with the devil to make sure that his son has a life that's worth living. And even when Matt's whole world gets turned upside down and he loses his sight, battling Murdoch, he's going to battle through. He's going to win this. And he works even harder to provide a better life for his son. Meanwhile, you have Matt, who, yeah, technically he's blind, but is he really? Because everything else, he's completely capable of doing everything better than anyone with sight can. And so you have all these layers happening here, and it's just gorgeous. It's beautiful. Eventually, Matt graduates from college, and then he and Foggy set up their own law firm. They're attorneys now, and it's great. And they hire on Karen Page, which is cool. It's nice to see the trio here. I remember first encountering this trio for real in the Netflix show, and they're great. And it's nice to see them here. This is exciting. But Matt realizes he really cannot concentrate on doing law work until his dad's murderer is brought to justice. And so that's when he says, you know what? I'm just going to do what everyone with a tragic past is going to do. I'm going to become a superhero. And so he puts together a costume. I'm no Betsy Ross, but I should be able to handle this. Lucky my touch is so sensitive. I can even blend the colors, for each colored fabric has a different feel to me. Matt! No! See, I was going to give you a pass. I was going to be like, I mean, he can't see color. So, of course this costume sucks. Because he can't see color. And I was going to give you a pass on that. But if you're going to pull this crap that you can feel color, then you have no excuse for making a costume this bad. I don't care what you guys have to say. This costume is terrible. Like, anyone who's out there is all like, oh, Daredevil's yellow costume is so much cooler. Like, you're kidding yourselves. It's really not. Like, what's up with this weird leotard combination with, like, the boots and, ugh, it's gross. Tell you what. I'm going to headcanon this. Let's get a no price here. I'm going to headcanon this. He thinks he can feel color. He actually can't feel color. He just thinks that he can feel color. And, you know, nobody wants to tell him that he can't. And then later on, I believe it's Daredevil number 7, I think right here, he switches over to the all-red costume, and it's just so much better. We're back at the gym, and the fixer has shown up. Somebody asking for me? What do you want? I want to know what arrangement you had with battling Murdoch. Battling Murdoch? What's that to you? It ain't healthy to mention him around here. And then the fight just ramps up, and it's way cool. But what's really cool about this is that now that we've had all the backstory, we've unlocked Daredevil's inner monologue. We now can see his strategy through his thought bubbles, which we weren't able to see before, which is just so smart. Because him being blind is such a big twist in the story that it would have been ruined if we knew about that from the very beginning. And since we don't, and now we're here, it's just great storytelling. It's a great order of events, and beyond that, it's a great extra element that they're able to put in here that's something that only comic books can do. The sound of his breathing, the telltale click of a pistol safety release, are all I need to pinpoint my target. And the almost inaudible sound of my cane cutting through the air is like a loud radar beep to my super sensitive ears. I was right all the time. My senses are so ultra keen that I can do anything a man with eyesight can do, and do it better. Fixer, I suspect you were responsible for the death of battling Murdoch. Why don't you confess now and save us all a lot of trouble? You're nuts! I had nothing to do with it. I got a perfect alibi. Maybe you do have an alibi. Maybe yours wasn't the finger that squeezed the trigger, but you gave the order, didn't you? It was me, but you'll never be able to do anything about it. And so Daredevil falls out the window, but he's Daredevil, and he has this really cool cane billy club thing, and he uses it to catch onto a flagpole and then swing back up and just go right back through the window and kick Slade in the face. We take a very small break from the action to find out what Foggy is doing and what Karen is up to. And this is where we're getting a lot of the ongoing drama. Because at this time, especially with something like the Comics Code Authority still in effect, you really couldn't let bad guys get away with whatever plan they had at the end of the issue. Like, even if you were planning on tying it up in the future, you couldn't really get around that too well. And so it was hard to create an ongoing story where it was the action and the crime fighting that went issue to issue to issue. But you could totally do it if you were doing like human personal interest drama, which is how Marvel was really able to succeed here. Yeah, every single issue, you could pick it up and just read it. You would get a full action adventure story. But if you collected them month to month to month to month, what you ended up with was this kind of like a soap opera with superheroes in it. You had all these personal relationships and dramas here, and that's what we really get here. Karen, today's your day off. I know, Mr. Nelson, but I'm a stranger in New York and I had no one to visit, so I thought I'd tidy the office while I had a chance. Is Mr. Murdoch with you? No. Matter of fact, I hope he'd be here. I don't like him wandering around town alone. I understand. What a pity such a wonderful, handsome man should be so handicapped. Wow. I sure like to hear her talk about me in that adoring tone of voice. Okay, so now we have like a weird love triangle happening that's centering on Karen, that Matt doesn't know about and Foggy knows all too much about. That's fascinating, and that's what's going to carry Daredevil on from issue to issue to issue. Enough with the sappy stuff, let's get back to the fight. Out, all of you. I'm only interested in Slade and the Fixer. Boy, you don't have to tell me twice. Now you two, I've learned what I wanted. Slade actually did the shooting, but you gave the order. What good'll that do you? You can't prove it. Yeah, where's your evidence? Right here. I have a miniature tape recorder concealed in my billy club. It'll tell the police all they need to know. He's got us! Quick, Slade, run before he can get his balance. They knock Daredevil off balance and they escape into the subway, where Daredevil is able to catch back up with them. Going somewhere, boys? It's him! It ain't possible! Separate, he can't catch us both! Daredevil takes his billy club and he throws it at Slade, tripping him up, and then he hops onto a trash can and does like this whole circus routine where he's chasing after the Fixer and the Fixer just dies. Like, they say he has a heart attack and he just dies on the ground. It's not the most satisfying, but it's the way it had to happen, I guess. The police arrive and they have nothing but questions for Daredevil. Unfortunately for them, Daredevil's not really interested in answering questions. He grabs onto a moving subway car to get further down the subway so he can catch up with Slade, and tackles them, and then the police show up and arrest him. It's okay, that's cool, that's fun, I'll accept it, that's great. Not too long afterwards, Matt Murdock returns back to his law firm offices, and Foggy is there, and so is Karen. They're like, hey, where were you? We were worried about you. Oh, I just wanted to go for a walk, you know how it is. And then they say, look, we just got a call. Some accused murderer named Slade. He wanted to know if we would defend him, but we turned him down because from the police report, I was convinced he was guilty. Hope you don't mind, Matt. And Matt is like, no, I don't mind a single bit. Make sure you return for further adventures with Daredevil. I am amazed. This was an incredible book. Like I said, I've read most of the big Marvel books from this time, right? Like, I've read through Avengers, I've been reading Fantastic Four lately, Spider-Man, I grew up on reprints of Spider-Man from this era. And this is so much better than all of them are. That, like I mentioned before, it has all of these deep layers and it's street level. Like, even though comics really had no choice but to be really, really, really clean at this point, Daredevil still feels like he's down in the grimy streets, as opposed to like other superheroes who seem to be a little bit above it. When they talk about street level heroes, there is a difference, and Daredevil is a great example of that. Now, something I was kind of surprised about though, and I think this catches a lot of people off guard, is just how much of the cover is actually devoted to Daredevil. Because it's honestly not a whole lot. It's like maybe a third of this cover is about Daredevil, and we have Spider-Man here, who's drawn at a larger scale than Daredevil is on his own #1 issue. What's up with that? Well, as it turns out, marketing a new character was pretty much the same back in the 60s as it is now. People don't care as much unless it's connected to a character that they do care a lot about. You had the Fantastic Four, that was a runaway success. Everyone loved it, everyone thought it was great. And then you had Spider-Man show up in Amazing Fantasy 15, and he was successful enough in that to be given his own book. And what is the first thing they do? They put him on the cover of his own book, but he looks like he's guest starring in a Fantastic Four book with how much Fantastic Four stuff is happening. That's kind of what's happening here with this. We don't have enough confidence that you guys are going to pick up this brand new comic book you know nothing about, so we're going to throw Spider-Man and that Fantastic Four both on the cover here so that you'd be interested in picking this up. And I am envious of the people who picked it up right then, because this was a fantastic book. You know, Daredevil has never been Marvel's most popular character, but he has been fairly consistent. And something I've noticed is that so many comic book writers and artists, they just love Daredevil, and they will fight for Daredevil to the bitter end to talk about just how great of a character he is. I mean, you had some of the biggest names here. You had Frank Miller, who was doing incredible work on this. You had Kevin Smith, who's famous for being a huge comic book fan, and he did a ton of Daredevil work. And then you also have Brian Michael Bendis. He's so fantastic. The guy who created Ultimate Spider-Man up there, he did Daredevil, and he loved it. And then, even outside of Daredevil's own line, we brought up the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles already. A huge chunk of that was built on the back of just Daredevil being cool. And you know what? After checking this book out, I'm right there with them. So, I would recommend this book highly. Very highly. This book was great. Fantastic stuff. It was reprinted not too long ago, so you should be able to find the single issue basically fairly simply in your local comic shop, because it was kind of a hot ticket item with the show Daredevil, Daredevil Born Again, blah blah blah, SEO, Daredevil. You can also probably pick it up online for like $2. I mean, first appearance issues like this aren't worth, well, they're worth a lot, but they're not like costing a lot digitally. And then chances are it's been reprinted in a bunch of other places too. I mean, it's a #1 issue. They always get reprinted. So I would highly encourage you go to your local comic shop, check it out, see if you can find it, and take it home and read it, because this was great. And it's a wonderful addition to my collection. I'm so happy that I got it. But that's what I've got for you guys today. I want to know, what's your opinion of the book? Have you seen Daredevil Born Again? Is it good? Do you enjoy it? Or do you enjoy the old Netflix show? Or, I don't know. Do you think he's actually able to feel color? Just tell me stuff in the comments below, and until next time, thank you for joining me. Have a great day, and remember to always be your best self.